Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 181 of Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast on all of the internet. My name is David Howe.
My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nisley.
Oh boy, it's just the three of us this week. We have a very special episode for you today. We know how popular these kinds of episodes are, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing a rankings episode. We are going to be ranking our all the 2D Mario games. We've done 3D Zeldas, we've done 3D Marios. This week, we're doing the 2D Mario games. I'm really excited about this. I'm a huge 2D Mario fan. I don't know about you guys, but there's a whole bunch of good ones. So I think it's going to be a spicy episode for you guys this week. We also have tons of stuff to talk about in the news and rumors segment of the show, including the biggest drama of the week, which is the Bayonetta voice actress getting a paltry offer for her voice work in Bayonetta 3. Let's see. There was a settlement on some of the Nintendo labor union issues that had popped up earlier in the year. Let's see. What else? G4 seems to have shut down. We got a lot to talk about in the news. So I say we get to it here in just a second. But before we get into the news, how are we all doing this week? How are we doing, guys?
Doing pretty good over here. I was reminded once again this week that there was a failed TV pilot for a TV show called Puchinsky, where a cop becomes a dog. And I watched that pilot episode on YouTube, and it is the dumbest thing I've seen, and it brings me joy.
Wow. Seems like it was a pretty packed week for you, man.
Thrilling.
Packed.
It's the little things, everyone. If you're listening, it's the little things.
Very good. What about you, Patrick? How's your week?
It's been all right. I've been really focused on coding stuff for the game I'm working on, and
that's right,
banging my head against it. And yeah, why doesn't Unity make moving platforms easy? I don't know. 2D and Unity moving platforms are frustrating, and I now have said it to somebody.
Yeah. Well, good. Air it out. This is a safe place.
Yeah. And I'm sure I'll talk about it more in the games we've been playing, because I had to go play lots of 2D platformers to see how do the physics work when you're on a moving platform in different games? And it is not consistent.
Yeah. I've been playing some 2D platformers too. I'm interested to hear what you've been playing.
I just went to try to find moving platforms and stuff and see if you jump, do you have the same force or do you not? And stuff like that.
Well, that's another strike on Unity.
Yeah, it really is. Honestly,
Patrick, you've been showing us some of the new animation for your game, and it looks so cool, man.
I like the updated character designs.
I'll say this.
Too spoilery. But.
Yeah, no, we can. It's a little premature to maybe say this, but I'm really hoping if I can get this stuff locked down that I would love to get some playtesters. But my goal is to have a pretty solid X amount of levels built by the end of the month, to get some playtesting and feedback on. So I'll put this call out there that if you like 2D platformers, please do reach out, and I will also be actively reaching out again in the coming weeks. But assuming I hit that goal, please.
There's nothing I love to do more in this world than to give notes on something that I don't really know anything about.
Well, just does it feel right? And watching people play it and stuff like that. Especially if you're willing to record yourself playing it. Ooh, you'd be my best friend.
Ooh, cool. Yeah.
Stuff like that. Anyway.
Very cool. And then, on my end, I've been doing pretty good. I had a really fun weekend, actually. On Friday, I went to a Sonic-themed party that was put on by my work, so that was really cool. Got to wear my costume again. Nice. And then I brought some goodies back home, including some Sonic the Hedgehog balloons, which my cat is super afraid of. Anytime they're in the room, he's like, ah! And just fucking runs away. It's really funny because they're always in the room. And
so one room.
Yeah. I've got a couple rooms.
I know you do.
I just move them into whatever room he's in because I like to fuck with him. And then on Saturday, I got to see my very good friend Christina Parrish is making a comedy album and a comedy special, and she put on live the kind of first half of her comedy special, and it was amazing. It's called "Sorry I'm So Sensitive." I think she'll be putting out like a video version of it and an audio version of it at some point soon. Yeah, really awesome. If you haven't yet, look up Christina Parra. She's a fucking genius, man.
So goddamn funny.
She's so funny, so weird and awesome.
Love that she has an entirely show based on chips.
Yeah. There was a lot of chip show footage on this show. It's pretty great. But yeah, it was fun. And then I just spent all of Sunday playing video games. So I've been having a pretty good time.
Nice.
Hell yeah. Before we move on, also had this funny interaction on Friday. I saw Joe Pera came to Austin. I saw Joe once again. But I have this t-shirt with Garfield on it that has a picture of Garfield and then says Neon Genesis Evangelion. And I wore it to the show. And after the show, I had this moment where I realized that I'm the target demographic for something, because no less than 12 people came up to me and said, "Where did you get your shirt?"
You were in a room with a bunch of yous.
Yes. Yeah. It was fucking wild. And I looked at it, they're just like me, but different shapes.
The crossover between if you're a Joe Pera fan, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the causation or correlation, or I don't know what it is.
You probably like Garfield memes and anime.
Yeah.
And you get it.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Pera did that whole Dragon Ball Z video recently.
Exactly.
As well.
Yeah. It was fucking wild.
Stuff.
Thanks for letting me share.
Of course.
Well, last week we did an episode on the console wars, sort of harkening back to the Sega versus Nintendo era of the late 80s and 90s. And we got lots of wonderful comments, especially over in our Discord. We can't shout out all the specific comments, but I'm going to try to list off a lot of the people, just so many of our good friends. Donnie, Steve Irwin, Lee, Carusetta, Cena, who else? Ivy, Ty Typos, other Dylan, KSB, OKC, B Campbell. Yeah, the huge. I mean, honestly, almost everybody. And if I forgot you, like Swampy Southpaw, Matt Shirley, more people. Great discussion in the Discord. Lots of people sharing their memories and about their moms smoking, if they had.
Yeah, I think Ron was on the money with that hypothesis. Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
We also got a comment over on YouTube from Steve Busam, who said they never understood the console wars because they had a bunch of the different consoles, and today they have all the different ones and so on. And it's just tribalism.
Yeah, we love all the consoles except for PS5. No, I'm just kidding.
We also got a great comment from Mookie Moo. What a wonderful name. How is your channel so small time? This is an awesome vid. Help us grow, Mookie.
Thank you.
Moo, share.
Yeah. Please share us around. Keep those subs coming. Much appreciate that.
Over on Facebook, Vincent Goodwin made a boo Mario rules Sonic drools comment. That is the kind of attitude that people had back then. And then we talked about Pokemon a little bit, and over on Twitter, our friend Summer shared a meme. What is it? Eric Andre, let me in, saying when a podcast is recalling some pop culture thing, but only 75% correctly, and that's us when we talk about Pokemon. And I've actually heard that from somebody else too. So,
just don't even fucking cover Pokemon if you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
My friend Austin said that one time. He's like, when y'all talk about Pokemon, you are often wrong about like the minor details. You know what I mean? Like you get the big picture stuff, but not the minor details. But hey. We never swore we'd be right about Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think
let's just
made
stay
that
high
clear.
level. Just stay high level Pokemon from here on out, except for it's one day after release of a major game.
Well, the only things we're going to talk about from now on this podcast are Neon Genesis Evangelion, Joe Pera, and Garfield. And
yes,
that's it.
baby.
And that is very, very happy right now.
And Patrick, David, you're out of here. I'm the host now.
But thanks to everybody who was part of the discussion. Come join the Discord and be part of that discussion. Share our podcast around. Subscribe to us like Mookie Moo did over on YouTube. Hit like and then subscribe on YouTube. And yeah, like David said, we got a lot of news and rumors and what have you for this week. One of the big ones has been this sort of swirling controversy around Bayonetta. So if you're not familiar yet, the voice actor, her name is Helena Taylor, who voiced Bayonetta in both previous games and probably Smash and stuff, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Shared that she was only offered $4,000 to be part of Bayonetta 3 and asked that people boycott the game because the payout that they offered her was so low. And I don't know. It's been a long. Actually, had several. Like, kind of went off on it. I would say. I don't know all the details of this. I haven't paid close attention, but it's kind of stirred up a lot of the stuff, right? And then Kamiya over on Twitter, right? Didn't he make some comments and shut his page down for a day or two? And
yeah, Hideki Kamiya, who is the director at Platinum Games, who's the creator of Bayonetta, kind of just an infamous dick. He's kind of one of these guys that thinks being an asshole is like a fun personality trait.
Yeah, especially on Twitter.
Yeah, especially on Twitter. He's known for pretty much blocking anyone that tweets at him in English. So basically, anybody he just doesn't want his Twitter feed to be non-Japanese. You know what I mean? So it's like. So he's kind of always been an edgelord on Twitter and kind of gets off on that, right? But, almost immediately he started responding to this kind of stuff, being like calling it a lie, basically. And he wasn't necessarily exactly referring to this, but he was making a lot of tweets. And a couple of them were in English, saying like they were like fake news, essentially, and stuff like that. And then he just started banning like thousands of people, basically, or like blocking thousands of people. So much so that Twitter actually had to put a warning on his page, because that's usually what bots do. It's like if you block that many people all at once, Twitter assumes you're a bot, right? And then I think he shut his own Twitter down for a bit, but now he's back. So it's just kind of been a bit of a shit show on the platform over the past couple days.
Yeah, and I guess Jennifer Hale is the person who is doing the voice of Bayonetta in this game, and they're a long time video game voice actor. And they put out a very brief statement sort of in response to it, stating that they're under NDA, so they can't really talk about it. But I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of personal thoughts and feelings. I mean, I obviously feel like people should be paid well and offered well. Didn't somebody in our Discord or somebody somewhere propose that maybe this was like they had to offer her something, and so they offered her this almost so she would refuse it, so they could maybe go with someone else? That theory, that's what some people are true to me.
That's certainly been floated around, but this is all speculation at this point. Really, I feel like the only thing we actually really know about any of this is Helena Taylor's comments and the videos that she made, right? Like, I think we need to say that at the top here. Like, I mean, Hideki Kamiya has posted some stuff, but it's been all kind of like a little bit weird and cryptic, like he always is, right? But I think right now we're really hearing one side of the story. As of the time of this recording, neither Nintendo nor Platinum have made a statement on this matter, right? And you think they probably would have to, especially with the game coming out so soon. And I mean, this tweet last time, let me see how many views this thing has.
I was going to say they might just wait and see if it goes away.
Right? Yeah. I mean, maybe, but I mean, it's like, the video's got, 9.4 million views on Twitter, right? Like Bayonetta is trending, right? Like it's not, like I think that's like several million more views than the trailer for Bayonetta has, right? So it's like, this is definitely getting up there. It's in the public consciousness. I think TMZ ran with the story and stuff like that. This is kind of like broken out of just the video game circles, right?
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. If it does that, then maybe they will want to say something. Yeah.
And by the time this episode comes out, they probably will have already made a statement, I would imagine. But yeah, I mean, $4,000 seems fucking low, right? For a game that's gonna sell definitely over 1 million copies. And for the person who's like the main character of the game, that seems really low, right?
I have no context for that. I probably, you know what I mean? Especially if like this is your third time reprising, you'd want to think that, as games do well, you get paid the same or more, right? And presumably based on her comments, this is less or insulting is the word she used. So it's probably not the same or more than she got for the second one. Mm-hmm. And that could feel weird or wrong for sure,
it does seem low if her voice would be used in perpetuity. they make all the tracks and then they use it for Bayonetta 3 ongoing for commercials, for other types of advertisement, for other placements. Does seem wildly low.
Yeah. And as I understand, Nintendo does not pay residuals to voice actors, right? I think one of the voice actors from Breath of the Wild came out and started talking about some of what he'd been paid, talked about the lack of residuals and stuff like that. So especially, if she did recordings for Super Smash Brothers and didn't see a lot of money from that, and then now is getting brought back again to do Bayonetta 3, and it was another low amount with no residuals, I could see getting pretty pissed off about that, certainly. I know Nate from Nate the Hate, Nate Drake on Twitter, posted some Screen Actors Guild
that would be helpful to see, right?
for voice actors. And I mean, basically about $4,000 is about the minimum of what you could pay for the amount of time that she would be working, right? But there's just a lot that we don't know right now. Still, there's a lot of assumptions being made at the moment. But regardless, I mean, I do think though, like if that is like the minimum and that is like SAG, the amount that SAG allows, like that's too low, right? It's like, it should be higher. I mean, the video game industry has far surpassed Hollywood and the film industry at this point in terms of sales and the amount of revenue generated, right? These games are very expensive to make, but they also make tremendous amounts of money. So I think, and the base pay for SAG actors on Hollywood sets is way higher than voice acting, right? And this is a problem both in video games. It's a problem for dub actors for anime and stuff like that.
Does dub play? I mean, or just like the fact that this would be the English voice, right? I presume there's a different Japanese voice and all that for every country, but the English voice is pretty important because of the amount of purchases that are made based on that, I would presume, right? Like, it's a tricky situation, I guess. I don't know enough about this stuff. Yeah. But I trust that if she says it's terrible, right?
Probably doesn't help that Hideki Kamiya is probably a xenophobe and just like doesn't give a shit about anybody that isn't Japanese, right? Yeah. I'm sure that has to play some into this, right? Not to, cast stones without really knowing the guy, but it's like, it does kind of seem that way, right?
Yeah. I don't know what else to say about this. Like, maybe like you said, more will come out and there'd be more context and that might help. But yeah, I don't have an easy answer or a strong feeling other than the world sucks.
Yeah.
The way we do things sucks.
Yeah.
A similar circumstance that happened, but not to this level of drama, is when Hideo Kojima chose Kiefer Sutherland for Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain over David Hayter, who was the voice of Solid Snake for a long time.
Forever.
Well, yeah, more than a decade.
Since he had a voice. Yeah.
Yeah. The difference there is that they treated David Hayter's characterization of Solid Snake with respect. They said thank you. They allowed him to go on tours to kind of voice this character. There was some respect paid for some of this original voice acting. So maybe at the bare minimum is just kind of treat the actors as fellow human beings and pay tribute to the amount of work they do, no matter the work they do, no matter the amount.
Yeah, I agree.
I also, that makes me remember too, I feel like I've heard that just in general, voice actors are a little bit upset about the state of voice acting that example you just gave is a prime one, right? As whatever you want to call it, regular actors. I don't know what you call them.
Normal fucking people
usurp roles from voice actors in more cartoons and more video games and stuff like that, where like
stunt casting, that's called a lot of the time, right?
Yeah. And that seems to be very common now. And I know that voice actors are upset about that too. So maybe there's just a bunch of stuff that voice actors are kind of upset about.
Yeah. I think the one thing, and we can move on from this, but it's been a lot of drama on Twitter the past few days for a lot of different reasons. I'm sure we'll get to some of the others in a second, but it's like one thing that did kind of rub me the wrong way about this group of videos that Helena Taylor made was it did seem like she was kind of, she asked people to boycott the game, right? Which I think is fine. I think whether or not people are going to boycott the game, that's kind of a personal decision, right? Like I think it kind of takes away a lot of the people that also worked on the game that aren't Helena Taylor, right? It's like,
that
is
maybe
it fair?
Did get 4K and wanted, or yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know,
or
like,
not even voice actors, but like programmers, artists, like all these fucking people that have been working for years and years and years on this game, right? So that's a thing. But then also, it kind of, in her last video that she made, it kind of seemed like she was kind of dogging on Jennifer Hale, and that didn't really seem fair. And so the whole thing is just kind of weird, and it's hard. And a lot of people, of course, because it's the internet, are like immediately on either side. It's like the fucking Republican Democrat split, right? It's like, I'm boycotting, or like, I'm buying 2 copies of the game, and it's like, all right, let's all like calm down a little bit, right?
Yeah,
And,
we'll see if either of you follows through on half of that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Probably the person who says they're not buying will buy it, and the other person won't buy any copy.
I'm just waiting to see what Nintendo or Platinum say on this. I would really like to see a statement from them, but we'll see. We can
And the official Switch Headz response is good luck.
Wait and see.
Yeah.
Well, moving on. This next thing is tonally a little bit different. Somebody made some fake Legend of Zelda movie posters showing Tom Holland, Idris Elba, and Emma Watson as the main characters, and they look really great. Like, they did a really good job. They are, reasonably good job. David disagrees. They don't look great.
They look like Stable Diffusion, which is what they are.
Like they used Photoshop, and
but AI actually,
AI and Photoshop. But anyway, they just made the rounds, and a lot of people thought they were real as a result, which created a lot of funny moments of people being upset that Zelda is a girl. That was my favorite one. Somebody being like, I think it's ridiculous that I know that we live in a modern age of woke culture, but maybe it was a joke, but because people don't know that Zelda isn't the playable character.
Wait until they play Metroid, man. I do not want to see Tom Holland as Link. Let's get some better casting than that. If we do live action Zelda, please.
Maybe what it was is that their casting felt like possible. Like, that's what would happen. Yeah. That's why it was so fun. Or just these are popular actors. I don't know.
I did see a follow-up to this to where in one of the replies of someone saying Zelda's a girl, they made Tom Holland play all of the characters.
I'll say this: the one that looked really good was Idris Elba as Ganondorf. That was pretty inspired. I would definitely be into that. And I was like, damn, the AI did a good job of making Idris Elba Ganondorf in this poster.
But have you considered Tom Holland as Ganondorf?
Oh no!
Oh boy. Back to the seriousness. We're swinging left and right. And
away from real actors.
We've talked about the complaints that were filed with the I guess it's the NLRB, right? The National the National Labor Board. I can't say these things.
Review board.
Here in the U.S. by a game tester who came forward and gave their name recently. That was working for a contractor at Nintendo of America, and specifically was testing Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and mentioned that they believe they got fired after they brought up unionization. Mm-hmm. Whew, I got through that. Okay, we've talked about that quite a bit over the past months, but apparently that was settled, and about $25,000 settlement paid out. Through Aston Carter. So I'm sure Nintendo may or may not have, actually, I'm not sure of anything. Nintendo may or may not have provided some of that funding. Also, this stuff, if this is different than like a court case, you know what I mean? Like, this is a administrative agency that has powers to oversee these sorts of things. Mm-hmm. And, anytime you hear about settlements and stuff, people just assume that means guilt, but it just means people don't want to deal with it, and they're willing to pay money because it could get worse and spend a lot of time and effort, and that seems what's best. Just always good to remember that.
Just by looking at the ruling, the settlement rather. My understanding is the way that they approached it. So it was $25,000, but about $15,000 of that is for back pay. That's my understanding of kind of what it looks like. How the settlement was.
Yeah. Yeah, that would make sense for sure. I think it's good that this person was paid. I just hope that this isn't just one of those things where it's like, we paid it, great, now we can just kind of go back to doing whatever we were doing, right? Hopefully this has been a bit of a wake-up call, and that if more people feel like they were fired unfairly, they also come forward and get their fucking bag from Nintendo, because that's the precedent now.
Yeah, and they also have to post some like sign as part of this settlement, and I'm not entirely sure if this is at Aston Carter or Nintendo or both, that says that, you know, they have the right to form a union if they want to and stuff like that. I mean, it's a lot more wordy than that, but that's hopefully a good sign too.
Totally.
While we're talking about money and regulations and regulatory boards, you know, due to the Microsoft Epic lawsuit, we're still finding information out of Brazil in particular because of how public some of their stuff has been. And so this is weird because it's like this number comes by way of Microsoft, but in Brazilian regulatory documents that Nintendo Switch Online earned almost $1 billion in 2021. So that their revenue for NSO was almost $1 billion. That's a lot of money from just subscriptions and not, I mean, game sales and that sort of thing, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Different world governments are kind of hearing both sides, like of the Microsoft v. Sony. It's like the two parents fighting over Call of Duty right now, basically.
I said the wrong thing, didn't I? I said Microsoft Epic. This is about Microsoft, Activision, Blizzard.
That's right. This is about the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, right? And whether or not that's going to be breaking different countries' laws, right? So from that, a lot of the stuff has come out. We also learned, in addition to the fact that Nintendo has made about $1 billion from NSO, Game Pass revenue last year was $2.9 billion, which is a fuck ton, right? Now, Game Pass costs a lot more than Nintendo Switch Online, so that makes sense, right? But it's definitely showing why these companies are going into these subscription services, right? Because it's guaranteed income. I mean, if you want any proof as to why, or if you want the reason as to why Nintendo no longer has a virtual console, you're looking at 1 billion reasons here. You know what I mean? Because there's no way that every year they were making $1 billion through virtual console sales, right?
And not having you pay for online.
Yeah, exactly, right. So yeah, that this is a bit of a shocking number, but I don't know. Get the fucking bag, I guess.
Yeah,
it's wild to see the growing trend of digital sales. Because Nintendo famously doesn't put out digital sales number. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Right. But only when they do, right? Like
only when Brazil forces them to.
Yeah. So we have like FY18. It's probably like 3-1 for every 4 games. 3 of them are bought physical.
FY18. What is that?
Fiscal year?
Fiscal year 18. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Of 2018.
Yeah. 2018. That's better.
Yeah.
I'm reading text from a bar graph slide. Versus like in 2022 or FY22, it's just it looks like 60-40
of digital.
Yeah.
What was crazy from these documents was seeing that last year Stadia made about $37. That was nuts. I can't believe how much money they made last year.
Well, if we're ready to move on, we've got some release news. So the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC expansion pass, Wave 2 or Volume 2, I guess they're calling it, just came out, which was a new hero and challenge battles. Are you into this, Matthew?
Yeah, I am. Yeah.
Like, do you go and play the challenge battles?
Challenge mode just came out. It's fine. And then we got a brand new DLC character. Christmas came early too, y'all. Xeno Heads. Volume 3 of the expansion pass came out early. I think it was supposed to come out before the end of the year, but it's here in October.
This game, they keep pushing it forward. Yeah, and they've given some release dates for the next couple waves. and it's April, by the end of April for the next sort of similar thing to this one. And then by the end of next year for the fourth wave. And that does make you wonder if those are conservative dates so that they can,
so January and June. Got it. Sounds good.
yeah, no, I mean, that seems quite possible.
Yeah.
I heard January and February. Okay. All right.
Also coming out, we got some, new to the Switch games and new games. Persona 5 Royal, a long time requested, finally coming out this week, right? This Friday, onto your Nintendo Switch. I have to be honest that I am more tempted by this than the other game we're going to mention in a minute coming out this week, even though I could play this for years on other systems or whatever. I don't know why.
It just seems like a perfect Switch game, right?
Yeah.
Persona 5. Persona, all the other Persona games have been out on portable systems. Persona 4 was a Vita game. Persona 3 was a PSP game. These games are just really good portably, right? And they're kind of built on like a day cycle, right? So they're great for, it's a long-term game that you can pick up and just play like a day at a time or whatever, right? Here and there. And yeah, I think it's really great to have it on a portable system. I think this is going to look amazing on the OLED screen. Reviews were out. The embargo lifted today that we're recording this, and Nintendo Life gave it a 10 out of 10. You know, it's an amazing game. Everything I'm hearing is that it's an amazing port. So this is definitely one I'm gonna pick up on Switch. I'm just gonna have to fight the urge to buy it right away because I just am not gonna. I know I'm not gonna play it for like the next month. I've got so much to play right now. I've got multiple long games that I'm currently working my way through, and I own this game on PS4. So pray for me, and we'll see if I actually buy this game on Friday.
Another game that's coming out this week, Nintendo exclusive Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. It's coming out on Thursday, October 20th. Also, reviews for this game are out as well. I don't know if it's been reviewing quite as well, right? I mean, it sounds like it's okay. It's an 85. I mean, that's pretty good, I guess.
85 is good.
On Metacritic is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I just have some of the stuff I read was like, it's great, but like I don't know that it, like, how the first one was kind of breakout and like you weren't expecting it. This one is not, right? Like, because you're
the first one also got an 85, by the way, on Metacritic.
There you go.
Yeah.
So as good.
Yeah. And the first one was very good.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. It just was $15 within 2
right.
months.
You wait long, and that's why I'm real hesitant about this one, David. You called this months ago, whereas like Ubisoft will put their games on sale within a month or two sometimes. So unless you are just super excited, it's hard to not say, I'll wait till Christmas and they put it on sale. Because they will, I think. Feels
they
like
will. It. Yeah. Unless they don't.
Hedge our bets.
There we go, pre-order. Let's go.
We got a couple more here. Some silly shit coming up right here. I saw this news article. I thought we had to talk about it. Apparently, some brain researchers using, I don't know how people do this. I don't understand how like brain cells in a petri dish or whatever this is can do anything. But apparently in a lab, they had brain cells in some sort of dish play Pong. And they taught them to play Pong as some sort of... This is science. This is what we're doing instead of solving real problems.
Hey, Patrick, we flew a satellite into an asteroid. Okay? We're doing real shit.
That too, I might argue, is also not necessary. But anyway...
You want to die? You want to get exploded? This just in. Patrick wants us to die.
Breaking news.
Oh boy.
Maybe our resident neuroscientist Emma can tell us.
Yes.
How do brains work?
Emma,
Yeah.
how the heck do you put brain cells in a petri dish and make them play Pong? I don't know, but it's been done.
It's a neural culture that's been growing for more than 6 months.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how. Oh boy. And then this one, I don't know a ton about.
Just so you know, all the neuroscientists who listen to this podcast are like, they got that about 75%.
Yeah, it's just like Pokemon. We cover brain science very well. some Japanese VTubers were banned from, I presume, multiple things, both their platform and possibly Nintendo, for playing this like version of Splatoon where they would chroma key out whatever the other team's color was, right, and put porn there with, I guess, to make the stakes higher that whoever loses is gonna get banned.
Like kicked off YouTube or whatever. Yeah.
Worth it? No, probably not.
I mean, I think it's pretty funny. I think it's funny because it just makes a lot of sense. Like it's like a solid color on the ground, and then trying to cover it up with your own team's color is just kind of silly and funny. But I also see why Nintendo did not like this.
And probably whatever platforms these people are streaming on, unless it's Pornhub or something, right?
If you're watching the YouTube version, I'm just showing hardcore porn right now.
No, Matt!
We're gonna get banned. You're showing the actual stuff. Hey, getting people banned.
Hey, it's chroma keyed, so unless you guys don't move,
my God.
it's going to show it. So you guys got to dance.
I do not want to have to edit this later. But
I'm just.
What was I saying?
It's safe. Safe for work.
Yeah, very good, very good. But no, this was, I think this is of note because NCL, Nintendo of Japan, actually tweeted out from their corporate account on Twitter, being like, guys, please don't chroma key porn into Splatoon. So they actually like made a post about it, and they don't usually get into stuff like this. So
yeah,
probably best to stop doing that if you've started doing it.
And then lastly, you may have completely forgotten, just like me, that sometime last year, G4 came back. G4, the video game television channel that used to exist and then went away. They relaunched it last year. And I think we talked about it when they were going to relaunch it. And then we all kind of forgot because, there's so much content related to this in different ways. And so like, what they kind of created is gone on to be popular things on YouTube and Twitch. And so do we need G4 now? I guess we don't, because they are shutting down again. Unfortunately, kind of like the Google stuff we talked about recently, it sounded like some people learned about this from social media.
Gerard the completionist posted that. He was like, well, just so you guys know, I lost my job from this. It's like, bummer.
Yeah. What do y'all think? Do you think, like, I don't watch TV, like live TV anymore. And I haven't watched live TV in a long time. I assume that's what this was, right? Like,
I don't even know if it was on TV.
Yeah. What?
No, we just don't really know. Hold on.
75% right about everything, not just brain science and Pokemon.
I mean, this is the point.
We don't know,
right?
Nobody
nobody watched it, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, this stuff has been usurped by YouTube and personal small scale content creators, right? And I don't know, they made the decision to staff up this thing with YouTubers and content creators that were already doing stuff, right? That already had their own platforms. And so it just was redundant already by the time it came out, right? I'm really sad that a lot of people lost their jobs, but it's like goes into the Stadia shutdown category of no duh news, right? It's like this was kind of doomed from the start, right? And it's kind of a shame that they lost all this money into it, and just something that I think people probably could have told them from the very beginning was not going to be a very good idea, right?
Yeah. Just to back up a little bit, reading this, some of the comments on this Deadline article that goes on to say, provide examples of why G4 shut down and how they entered it into this space last year. So they had content on YouTube and social media, and then a multi-year agreement with Twitch, and some TV distribution deals like with Verizon, Cox Communications, Xfinity, and some other services.
Gotcha.
So they were trying to cast a wide net for TV folks, social media, and have representation on Twitch and other platforms.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's almost like if you want to do stuff like this, you have to like really get specific. I feel like if you try to get really broad with a lot of your gaming stuff, it's like the more niche it is these days, the audience that you try to cater to, it's almost the more success that you'll find. I think when you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody. I and I, not that like we're anything to go by, but it's like, yeah. But you know what I mean? That's how it seems, right? And so, it's a shame that all these people lost their jobs. I mean, also a lot of people were let go from, I know, Rooster Teeth this weekend as well, and there's been a lot of stuff going online about a lot of drama there. It's just been a rough, weekend for the industry layoffs, right? So it's just kind of a bummer.
Well, on that somber note, we're going to take a break. And
we're going to talk about Mario.
Real excited to talk about Mario when we come back after this short break. We're going to rank all those. Well, most of. Well, we're going to have a discussion about which 2D Mario games we're going to rank, and then we're going to rank those 2D Mario games. So we are back, and this week we are going to be ranking 2D Mario games. We've got, Super Mario movie coming out next year. We just saw that trailer. We're all excited about Mario. And so we thought we'd talk about the 2D Mario games, do what we do sometimes where we rank them. Now, this is tricky. I mean, as is somewhat true for our previous rankings, but more so with this one, because like what counts and what doesn't count is a little bit, arbitrary. We've excluded some titles somewhat to keep our list a little bit shorter, but also I think fairly, because things like, Super Mario Land 3, Wario Land, that's got Wario as the main character, and then it kind of became its own series, right?
Sure. Yeah, I would count that as a Wario game, right?
Right. And same with Yoshi's Island, which was titled Super Mario World 2. So we're not going to do those. We're not going to do new Super Luigi Bros Scratched Out U, because that was kind of like a add-on kind of thing for. It
was really more DLC for.
Yeah, there
Super
you
Mario
go.
Bros. U. Yeah,
and then we're gonna also leave the Mario Makers out, which is, I know, painful, especially for David. But they are kind of separate because they don't really have the campaign element the same. I mean,
Mario Maker 2 has a campaign, right?
Like but it's not like a world map, or you know what I mean. The way it's structured doesn't feel it does, but you're earning coins and stuff.
I think it's fair to not include the Maker games. That being said, if we did include the Maker games, they'd be like number 3 or 4 on my list.
Yeah,
I love those games so much. Yeah.
And maybe if we have time, we'll talk about them. And then there's also like things like the e-reader levels and stuff. Like, it just gets hairy. There's been a lot of remakes and sort of, or like the all-star games. I'm gonna stop talking and we're gonna start ranking.
Yeah, essentially, we're going with first release 2D Mario games, right? Not re-releases, no Game Boy Advance remakes or anything like that. We're gonna be kind of basically talking about the games as they appeared on their original systems.
Yeah,
and no 2D Mario Arcade.
Yeah. Right.
Platformers. Ranking the 2D platforming Mario games that aren't also Super Mario Run, which we also excluded.
Right. And then also it gets a little tricky with like US, Japan releases, things like the Lost Levels and Super Mario Bros. 2. Do those count? Where do we, it doesn't matter. We're going to handle this how we handle it. If you have an issue with it, you're wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong and we're right. Always. Yeah.
So
no Super Mario Brothers 35.
No. We can't include that one.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, I just want to fuck with David on that one.
It's okay.
But what we are going to start with...
I took the L on that long ago, Matt. And I'm paying for it every day.
Okay, what we are going to start with, to just be our baseline, right, is... these games came out in different years in different regions, but so I'm going to be using North American release years. But the 1985 Super Mario Bros., the NES game that we all know and love, that Super Mario 35 was based on. That's where we're going to start. And so that's presently number 1, right? And then how we do these is we go through and we say, is it better or worse than the whatever's kind of in the middle, and we kind of work our way up and down and find its positioning. So we're going to start with that. So I guess we'll move on to...
Well, I mean, let's quickly say some words.
Yeah, say some words about Super Mario Bros.
Super Mario Bros., as you will, I'm surely soon find out, listener, was quickly outshined by a lot of its sequels. But let's not understate how incredible of a game that really is, right? Especially when it came out. It's like It was one of the really early great 2D platformers. I think one of the only ones that really was before it that really had any clout was like Pac-Land, right? And Shigeru Miyamoto said that was one of his inspirations for the game, right? I think it's just they really refined the formula the more that it went on, but the original Super Mario Bros. Is still so fun to go back to, as long as you're okay with not being able to walk to the left. Once you scroll the screen, you can't go back, right? And then the kind of like weird physics of it. It's really an excellent game, and I love revisiting that game all the time, and it's still super fun to play.
Genre defining, like a lot of things that platformers do. Like, as somebody who's thinking about, platformers, you have to go left to right. And because players have been trained, thanks to the success of this game, that's how you move in this kind of a game, right? And just so many things about it have defined 2D platformers. And like you said, they've been refined, but you can't underplay how important this game was.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys still play this game every once in a while?
I played it recently for these reasons we just talked. I talked about at the beginning of the show, to be like, how does it feel when you get on like the flimsy lifts and they're falling and stuff like that in this game?
Crazy.
Crazy
in the year of our Lord 2022. Still going back to this game.
You played this game, Patrick, to inspire your current game design.
Yeah, just to think about like what players are expecting when they're getting on platforms and stuff like that.
Say no more.
Yeah. Powerful.
So we'll move on to the lesser known in the United States Super Mario Bros. 2, which is better known as the Lost Levels. So, this game came out in Japan first. It didn't really get an official North American release until 1993 as part of the Super Nintendo All-Stars, Super Mario Bros. All-Stars. But in Japan, it was the second Mario game, and I guess they thought it was too hard for a North American audience, so they made a game we'll talk about in a minute. But Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels. Do we want to say something about it first, or do we want to and then drop a rank?
Sure. I mean, do you guys like this game?
It's hard.
It is hard. It is a lot harder than the first one, right? And a lot weirder. Like, it's got really weird game design choices in it. Yeah.
You just asked the question, have you played Super Mario Bros. Recently? And it's like an easy yes for me often. But this game, I have not returned to really. Like,
have you ever beaten this game?
I don't know that I beat it. I played it a lot when I was playing All-Stars, and I remember I got decently into it. But no, probably back then I probably didn't, because like there was no modern cheating or whatever, on that. Like,
yeah.
So I don't think I've beaten it. No.
I think I have. I remember there was one weekend where I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm playing Lost Levels, and I'm just gonna like go through it for the first time, and I played it, and it's hard. It's a fucking challenge, and it's like, and then it's also got like a lot of post game stuff too. It's like, how there are like, there's kind of like new levels at the end. It kind of like makes the game slightly harder when you beat Mario Bros. Like there are like extra. It just kind of keeps going when the game is done, right? In a way that is very difficult. So it's definitely worth playing today. But I do think that while it definitely added a lot of stuff to the formula, I can in good conscience say that this is a better game than Super Mario Brothers. I would definitely put this below.
Yeah, as soon as level 2-2, you have hidden blocks.
Yeah,
and if you're unfamiliar with the idea of hidden blocks in a 2D Mario game, then you just reach a pit. You don't know what to do or don't know where to go unless you know that hidden blocks exist.
Kaizo blocks, as they're known in the Mario Maker community. Yeah. It's definitely it's horribly brutal. It's got insane wind mechanics. And the trampolines shoot you off the screen, and you just have to guess where you are. This game is fucking hard, and it's not as good as Mario Bros. And I don't think anybody would ever be mad at us for saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all. I'm gonna say we all agree that this belongs under the original Super Mario Bros. So we'll put the Lost Levels currently in second place. We'll see how long that lasts. Because next up is what most people in North America at least think of as Super Mario Bros. 2. And that is Super Mario Bros. 2, is known in Japan as Super Mario Bros. USA, I believe. Came out in 1988. You know, as we all know, this was like a reskinned, retooled game that Nintendo took for American audience, right? It's called Doki Doki Panic, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yume Kojo Doki Doki Panic.
Where they, which I think is just kind of a fascinating slice of Mario history, that all these iconic Mario characters and villains and stuff started off in a non-Mario game, and then making like Shy Guys and all that kind of stuff. But very different than all the other 2D Mario platformers, right? There's a lot of verticality. You pull up, I mean, partly because it was based on a different game, but like you pull up vegetables, which also is kind of an iconic Mario thing now too, right?
Jumping on enemies' heads does not kill them. You just stand on top of them, right?
Yeah.
And you get to ride them for a little while.
So it feels very different to play this. You know, there is a mushroom, but it doesn't, you know, a lot of the stuff doesn't quite like translate from the other Mario games. So it's a bit of an outlier, right? But also it's pretty fun.
It's a great game. Yeah, Mario Brothers 2 is an awesome game. Yeah.
So
it's just wild, right? And it's difficult too. It's like, I feel like it's harder than the original Mario Bros. But yeah, in kind of a unique and different way. I don't think it's better. I think Mario Brothers, original Super Mario Brothers, is probably better than Super Mario Brothers 2. But what do you guys think?
I love Super Mario Brothers 2. I have some of the most memories playing 2, just because it's like playful music.
It's got great music.
Just incredible music. Just some of the ideas that you use with items, like you pick up bombs and you throw them at boxes, like bricks. It's fun. I don't think it's better than Super Mario Brothers.
Okay, yeah. It's got a lot of great mechanics, you know, the flying carpet and the eggs.
Birdo. Birdo is such a unique and creative boss. And it's not even like a main boss. It's like a mini boss, right? That repeats.
It's just tough for me. I mean, y'all both have outvoted me, even if I said the opposite, because I have a lot of great memories from this one too. And you know, like a very personal way, I might say it's better, but like on if I tried to be more objective, I think I'd probably agree with y'all. But I think it's better than the Lost Levels.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I think most of the games on this list.
Yeah, the Lost Levels may sit down at the bottom for a while, if not the whole time. What do you think, Matthew? Can we comfortably slot 2 in what is currently second place?
Yes.
All right, that's a thumbs
up.
100%.
Let's do it.
So right now we got Super Mario Bros., Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario Bros. 2. But to be clear, the Lost Levels is the one at the bottom. So now we get to a tricky one. These are all tricky ones, I guess. Super Mario Bros. 3 comes out in 1990 in the United States, I think, which is kind of significantly later. I mean, it had the build up with the Wiz, the movie, and like just looks so great for the NES. And man, I know I said I've spent a lot of time and have a lot of good memories playing Super Mario Bros. 2, but actually 3 really kind of hits home for me of like,
I mean, it's a masterpiece. Like, this game is an absolute masterpiece. Like, there's not a bad level in this game. I think you could pretty much say this is the game that really solidified the feel of Mario platformers, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like we said before, Super Mario Bros. Is an incredible game, but you almost feel like a weird, heavy tank when you're jumping around. The momentum is all weird. You know, Mario feels a lot lighter and more nimble. It's easier to move around in the air once you've jumped. You get extra height when you jump off an enemy's head, you know, something that wasn't in Super Mario Brothers 1 or any of these other ones that have released up to this point, right? This feels like, you know, if it had a little bit of a fresher coat of paint on it, this game could have felt like it came out yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is undoubtedly one of the finest games ever made. And yeah, it's, to me, I mean, this takes the number 1 slot so far right away.
Right away.
Yeah.
Yep.
I actually would agree.
One of the best 2D Mario games of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was playing this recently too. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Matthew.
The power-ups, choosing a world, the overworld, all the different biomes.
The overworld has so much like fucking character too, right?
All the secrets. It's you got Big World, one of the best the worlds. I love Big World. Big things that were small are now big.
Yeah. I think some of the stuff that gets forgotten about in this game a lot that I love are like the scrolling levels. Or not the ones, excuse me, not scrolling. Well, the ones I have like Pac-Man scrolling, where you like exit one side of the screen and come on the other.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's like they work that into really cool puzzles with like the pipe levels where it's like, okay, you kind of have to go this way and then have to go out the other side. It kind of breaks your brain a little bit. And then this game also gets really difficult. Like in World 8, the levels where like the hands grab you are like so fucking hard when you're in Bowser's domain, right? There's also our introduction to the Koopalings as bosses, and a great group of characters there.
Also, the only Mario game that has a king or kings, right?
That's true.
We got Princess Peach is the monarch and all the other games, but this one, there are these kings that you like. They're transformed into weird things, and you heal them or whatever.
King George.
Actually, we never see these kings again. Man, yeah, that overworld also, like, I don't know if it's the first game to have an overworld, but it's the first Mario game to have an overworld, right? And it just, that feels like such a great way to navigate that they introduced it. So I agree with everybody else. We should put this first. Super Mario Bros. 3 is our number one game right now. We didn't even have to like start in the middle and rank that.
Yeah, no, that's an easy one.
Okay, great. So now we're moving on. The NES era has happened, and I guess we're moving on to, it's sort of simultaneous, right? Like we're kind of taking a step backwards a little bit in some ways to the Game Boy, because we are including the handheld games. There was some debate about whether we should or not, but we decided we would include the handheld games because you got to, right? So in 1989 for the Game Boy, we had Super Mario Land. I spent a lot of time playing this one.
Same.
Limitations of the Game Boy / whoever they had develop it, some different decisions made here in terms of like power-ups and enemies and like the sub levels and stuff like that, which were kind of hard, as I recall. Difficulty on this was pretty high as well.
Yeah. This one does not feel like you can tell this came out in a pre Super Mario Brothers 3 world, right? Like this one it's very odd. Mario is like a weird little tiny sprite, right? Like they made him almost like too small, right? Like on the screen, which I get why.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
real estate. Or
like I almost wish like Super Mario Brothers Deluxe for the Game Boy Color, which was a remake of Super Mario Brothers. Like the way they made it to where you had to like scroll vertically in order to see the whole screen because he was bigger. Right. So I get why they made it so small so you could actually have more in front of you as you're going. It makes sense. But yeah, just really odd level design choices. There's like shmup levels in this, there's like side scrolling shoot 'em up levels. The submarine levels are really interesting. Oh, that's what you meant by sub levels. I see now. But
I should have clarified because a lot of times that means you go through a pipe and go to a sub level. I meant submarine level. Sorry.
I love the kind of like bad guy of this game, Tatanga, the like little weird alien dude. He's like the main bad guy in this game. When I was a kid, I had this Game Boy comic. It was like written about the Game Boy. And actually the whole comic takes place inside the World Trade Center, which is kind of interesting. But basically what happens is, some guy like plays the Game Boy and they all come to life, and Tatanga is like the villain of this thing, and he like takes over the World Trade Center kind of and like unleashes all his people on the world. And so ever since then I've loved the character and I love the game, but it's certainly it was outshone even on the Game Boy, right? So it's not one of the greatest games of all time. But I do very much enjoy this game.
Yep, and we got Daisy out of it.
That's true.
I feel like of all the things that lasted from this game, that's it. What
maybe
mechanics?
Maui Heads, maybe, or Moai Heads, maybe. I feel like came from this game. But yeah, that's about it. Super Bowl, I guess, was in Mario Maker as a power up.
Good game. Matthew, you have any thoughts on this one before we officially rank it, or did you have any memories of it?
This was one of the, like what y'all said, just a weird game. Even you're saying that Mario is small, but also like the blocks, like the question mark blocks are also really tiny. So those are all often difficult to hit, and you have to have like pixel perfect accuracy.
Mm-hmm. I also like that Koopas explode when you jump on them in this game. They just blow up.
I do remember beating this game and being real proud of myself.
Yeah,
when I was younger.
Yeah, it's short too.
Yeah, it's also kind of short, but in that era of it wasn't short for me. But yeah,
yeah. Well, there's no saving, right? You just had to kind of beat it in one go.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would put, if we're ranking this one, I would put this one under Super Mario Brothers USA.
Right.
I would say I would put this above Lost Levels and below USA. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, I think that's where I would slot it too, if that's how we're doing it. Matthew, do you agree? Do you think it's better than Lost Levels? Yeah, it just feels like the right spot for it in our current list. Somebody want to give us a quick rundown on what we've got here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have.
For anybody listening?
Yeah, I have going from 5th through, I think we've talked about 5 so far.
Mm-hmm.
Lost Levels, Super Mario Land, Super Mario Brothers 2, USA, Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers on the NES, and then number 1 is Super Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah, this feels right. It's gonna get messy. Right. It's gonna get messy soon. But so far I'm on board with this. So then the follow-up to Super Mario Land for the Game Boy as well was Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins, 1992. And like you said, this came out in the post Super Mario Bros. 3 landscape. I actually don't think I've ever played this one. I really have like a memory of playing. I have this idea that I have a memory of playing it, but I went and watched footage today. And I was like, no, I don't think I did ever play this game.
That's insane. This, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to shame you,
Fuck
but it's
you.
just like,
get off of the show.
This game is so goddamn good. I love this game so much. This was the first time that Mario actually felt like Mario on Game Boy, and in handheld. And it really went toe to toe, man. I mean, like this also had a really great overworld with lots of really interesting and unique levels, and cool power-ups too. This is the first game that had the spin jump as well. You would like hold down.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you held down and press jump, he would do a little spin jump and then smash people, like we would see later in Super Mario World. It had like a cool like feather power up that you kind of have a feather on your head that kind of looks like a bad stereotype of Native Americans, and you would like kind of like slowly float down. So it was kind of like a cross between the feather in Mario World and the tail in Mario 3. Really great game. And this was the introduction of Wario. Wario was kind of the main bad guy in this game, and you would fight against him at the end of the game. Yeah. Spoilers.
Similar to Patrick, I've maybe spent an hour or 2 on this game, primarily playing this on kiosks at Toys R Us. And most of my memories around 6 golden coins are TV advertisements.
It's weird. It's like I think I might have had it, but I just don't think I sunk the time into it, or I just feel like I had it, but I didn't. You know what I mean? It's one of those. Because watching game footage, I'm like, I do not remember this, but I kind of remember Wario being a bad guy. Anyway, it doesn't matter. My personal experience. So, David, we're going to lean a little bit on you on this one since you're more familiar with it.
David, we're going to lean completely on you.
Okay, well, you guys might not be happy because I put this one up there. I think
I might not be happy.
To me, I mean, I love this fucking game. I've played, you guys may play this for maybe a couple hours each. I've probably put 50, 60 hours. I've replayed this game like so many times over the years, right?
Is it short like the other Super Mario Land?
It's a lot longer. It's still pretty short, but it's probably, I'd say it's conservatively like 4 times as long as Super Mario Land, right? It's got a lot of levels, a lot of variety, and a lot of bonus levels and stuff like that too. I would probably rank this game above the original Super Mario Bros.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I would say if I were to do the ranking here, I would go Mario Brothers 3, what we have so far, Mario Brothers 3, 6 golden coins, then Super Mario Brothers, and then Super Mario Brothers 2. Yeah.
Right,
I don't know if you guys are comfortable with that.
I'm comfortable with it. I trust that your judgment here.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'm going to say to you, Patrick. I think that you must play this game, and you as well, Matt. And if you are wanting to go and revisit this game, there are excellent fan ROM hacks of this game that add color back into it, because this game was released on the original Game Boy. There are basically Game Boy Color hacks that make this game full color, that are definitely the definitive way to play this game at this point. And especially when you play it with color, it just feels great to play. It's an excellent game. I love it so much.
Awesome. We're gonna go with that then, I think, right? So that's currently our second place game. We'll see how long it stays there, because this next one is a big one. Super Mario World comes out for the Super Nintendo. What's the launch game, right? Right? I'm not making that up, for the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yep. Man, I remember playing this and just being blown away with how great this game is. Talk about that. They make you go right in Mario games right away. You have this overworld map where you can go left.
Yeah.
That felt like a sort of in joke almost. You know what I mean?
Well, the first one that you're on, you click it and you're just at Yoshi's house. And
yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like there's not even anything. Just it's a bunch of Yoshi's talking to you. You're like, okay, weird. And so right off the bat, it felt very different, right?
Yeah, and then graphically, at the time, it was just such a graphical upgrade, and all these cool power ups that obviously now that I see, when we had the building blocks for with the feather, as you pointed out, and that kind of stuff. But just a great game. I have a lot of memories of this game. Man, this is a tough one for me. I want to put this high up.
Just to add on to how different this game is, depending on what you choose first. Some of the levels you see aren't Goombas or Koopas for the first time. They're dinosaurs. Mm-hmm. So if you've played other Mario games and you see dinosaurs, the first enemy, you already know you're in a different kind of Mario game. It's more colorful. It's more playful. The way that Mario feels is even better than, in some cases, Mario 3.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I mean, this is the age-old question, right? I mean, I think people have debated this for decades now.
3 in World.
What is the better game, Super Mario Brothers 3 or Super Mario World? And I think people are pretty evenly split. A lot of people really prefer 3. A lot of people really prefer World. I'm going to come out and say it. I think Super Mario World is the greatest video game ever created. Like straight up.
Where David stands on.
Yeah, like I know that it's not just my favorite Mario game of all time. This was the first video game I ever played. And still, to me, it's the undefeated best video game of all time. I think this game is like absolutely perfection from start to finish. I think I've just never played a better game. I think the level design is incredible. There are 96 levels, or 96 exits, I guess is what you could call them, in this game. All these fucking hidden worlds, all this extra shit you can unlock.
Yeah, all the blocks that you can fill in that let you get to such a clever way to do that.
Yeah, if you want to play harder, you don't have to hit the Switch Palaces, right? You can have all these open areas that make the game a lot more challenging, right? And it introduced us to Yoshi, which was such a great addition to the game. I don't know. I mean, what hasn't already been said about Super Mario World, right? It's perfection. This has got to be number one for me. But what do you guys think? Do you think 3 is better or World is better?
Let me ask you a question. Does Super Mario Brothers 1 or 2 have ghosts?
No.
Does 3 have ghosts?
Yes.
Does it have ghost houses?
No.
Super Mario World is better.
Hey.
It's got ghost houses.
You just really like ghost houses? That's funny. Ghost houses are my least favorite part of Super Mario World.
I like the spooky music. I mean, I can't say anything more than what y'all already been said. Super Mario World is, to me, in the top 5 games of all time.
Yeah.
Level design, it's a classic. If I play other 2D platformer games like Shovel Knight feels similar to Super Mario World. Other 2D platformers remind me of Super Mario World. It is the bread and butter of platforming games that everything strives to be Super Mario World.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. We should put this at the top.
Yeah. I've probably played this game 100 times. Like, I never get tired of it.
So next up's another game that I'm not very familiar with, and that'll start a trend here on some of these new Super Mario Bros. Games, for me at least. The DS. So we have a long time. They don't make a 2D Mario game, right? Like they're playing around with Mario in 3D. You know, I guess they're making Donkey Kong Country platformers and that sort of thing, and Yoshi's Island,
re-releasing the games on Game Boy Advance,
and adding the e-reader levels, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a good call. And re-releasing them on the Super Nintendo. But we don't have a sort of brand new 2D Mario game until 2006. That's a long break for the DS, and they call it New Super Mario Bros. I have never played this one.
Really?
I've watched some footage of it. I'm familiar with some of the console entries that come up later, partly just because, as we've talked about a lot, handheld gaming. I took a big break between the Game Boy and the Switch, and now I wish I hadn't, but I did.
Did you have a DS, Matt?
I bought it,
but never played it.
I barely played it. Yeah, I was working at Toys R Us all the time. I was like, this sounds exciting, but I've also similar to Patrick, I wasn't a handheld gamer. I continue to be a rare handheld gamer. I rarely play even my Switch handheld.
Yeah. So once again, David, as sometimes we have to do, we rely on you for these ranking episodes to fill in our gaps here.
Look, I'm happy being the expert here. Yeah, I mean, this game is great. This is an excellent game. Where does it lie is the question. Why did I say that? I mean, obviously that's the question. I don't. I feel like I would probably put this.
It's a tricky one. Somewhere in the middle, though, you'd think, right?
It's definitely worse than 6 golden coins. Is it better than the original Super Mario Brothers? I don't know. I think no. I think it's. I don't know. It tries some new things, right? It adds wall jumping, which is excellent. Yeah. It adds the coins, the findable coins, which kind of really got started in Mario World with the Yoshi coins, right? It adds.
It's sort of borrowing some 3D aesthetic stuff too, right? Like, like
you've got the butt slam that you have from Mario 64. It's got this annoying thing though that is in every new Super Mario Brothers game where like the Koopas are like walking and then it goes bah, bah, and they like do a little dance and they throw off your jump and you're like trying to hit them and then you get fucked up. Anyway, that still bothers me to this day. I don't know. The question is it better? Because what's weird to me in my head right now, I'm like, this game is like better, is probably not as good as the original Super Mario Brothers, but is better than Super Mario Brothers 2. But we currently have the original Mario Brothers as better than Super Mario Brothers 2. So I don't know where exactly to put this. So maybe I just slot it in between the two, right?
Yeah, I feel
like that's a good call, right? Because it's certainly not anywhere near as replayable as Super Mario Brothers, the original. I find that game so much more fun to go back to this day.
Okay. I think it gets tricky.
I hope I don't regret that later.
Well, no, I think it gets tricky when you're comparing older and newer games.
Totally.
Right? Like it's easier to talk about what's better, Super Mario Bros. Or Super Mario Bros. 2, because they came out within years, they have the same aesthetic. But once you're talking about a game that came out, 15 years, 20 years later, it gets a little tricky.
Yeah, like technically, is it better than Super Mario Brothers? Of course, but is it at an emotional level?
Yeah, like and for the time like and that sort of level? Thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's hard to know what criteria we're using.
Yeah,
in that regard.
Please tear me apart in the comments for this one. Yeah,
but there you go. It's kind of sitting in the middle-ish, lower half or upper half of the lower. I can't talk. Top of the lower half. But then we get again decent amount of years later, 4 years later, they continue this new Super Mario Bros. What we'll be talking about till we're done here. New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii, 2010, and I think this game introduces 4-player, right?
Mm-hmm. First Mario with co-op play,
which is big. I remember having, so much fun with people, like just being like the stuff that Matthew loves of the chaos of playing multiplayer in these games where you're accidentally bouncing off your teammates or purposely sometimes if it's Matthew.
Picking them up and throwing them into pits. Like an agent of chaos.
You're fucking right. Yeah, hire me and I'll throw you into lava. New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii. Is that the full title?
New Super Mario Brothers Wii.
New Super Mario Brothers Wii is, to me, the game that helped me solidify my personality as a human being.
Oh, no. Just both, ultimate heel.
Both just like, I love playing games with people. I love the co-op nature of 2D platformers, but also you can have a little fun and be a heel and throw each other out the level. You get to choose. It is both cooperative and competitive all at once, even though it's not a competitive game by definition. It's just like so fun. They introduce tons of new power-ups. You have the helicopter helmet.
I think one of the biggest additions that I really liked about this game was the mid-air twirl. I did like that. I think they added that in for simplicity to make it easier for people, especially when it's chaotic and there's a lot of people on screen at once.
To land where you want to land, kind of.
Yeah, just a little bit of an extra little like as you're like going down, right? I really, really enjoy that, and I want all new 2D Mario games to have that going forward. I think that was a great addition, right? And I think it, it makes it a little bit easier, but also makes it more fun, to play. I think this game is definitely better than New Super Mario Brothers, and I think just the fact that it was 4-player and it's just as fun to play single player as it is to play with 4 people, as far as I'm concerned. I'd probably put this one under 6 golden coins personally. I would put this over this one over the original Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, I think when you it's kind of like part of it is the Wii, a lot of people had it. Part of it is the accessibility of 4-player, I just remember multiple situations where you're just handed a Wiimote and let's play some Mario. And that didn't really happen for the new Super Mario Bros. On the DS, right? But it happened here, I don't know. So it definitely feels like a big one because of the era and that plays into it. It's hard to separate those things sometimes.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't have the experience with 6 golden coins, but I think it's got to be in the top echelon of these.
So we have it currently as 4.
You said it's under 6 golden coins, right?
Yeah, I would put it in 4th place currently. If you're comfortable with that, Matt.
Yep.
Let's do it.
I would play 6 golden coins, so I would say that it's better than 6 golden coins.
But we'll trust you on this one. Yeah.
Well, I'll leave it
75%.
So then for the 3DS, a couple years later, New Super Mario Bros. 2. Another one that, due to my handheld ignorance, I have not played. Did this game really iterate well on this formula, or was it more of the same? Or
so this is a 3DS game, and this admittedly is the one game on this list that I have not played through to completion. And in fact, the first time I ever played it was last night in preparation for this episode.
Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah. I downloaded it. It was always a bit of an outlier because it's not really a sequel to New Super Mario Brothers Wii. It does not have the midair twirl. You know what I mean? This is the sequel to New Super Mario Brothers for the DS.
Right.
So it came out 6 years later. And and this game, let's just say it right now, this game is fucking weird, man. This is a really weird game, but this game feels like it was made on crack.
Is this one where you can be in a Koopa shell and stuff, or what's weird about it?
It's all about money. It's it's obsessed with coins. It's everything is just about as many coins as you could possibly get.
So you can get the coin brick, the coin hat, coin helmet.
Yeah. Yeah, if you hit a golden brick, then like the brick becomes your head, and if you run really fast, you just get a fuck ton of coins like trailing behind you as you go. You can grab a golden shell and throw it, and then it makes coins everywhere, and it's all just like coins. And the level design is weird, dude. It's like tons of hidden blocks. It's like tons of like. It's like you'll go up into a thing, and it's like, oh, here's where you should really go. It's like all this really bizarre level design. It's not a bad game, but it certainly is not one of the best Mario games, right?
Well, I think we can all agree, like, coins are not a important mechanic, right?
Not at all.
And they tried to turn them into one for this, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah.
It just doesn't really work because
I'm going to say it right now. I don't give a fuck about coins. I mean, I like 6 golden coins because those are like, you beat a boss and you get a golden coin. But this is just like
getting an extra life or whatever when you get one, but you don't.
Right. Yeah. This is the first Mario game that lets you have more than 99 lives because you're going to have 99 lives by like the end of the second world. You know?
David,
just get a million
just
coins.
to understand, you don't like a lot of coins, but you only like coins when there's 6 of them and they're gold.
and they're big and they slot into Wario's little castle. But I don't know, man. Matt, have you ever played this game?
Never ever.
Yeah. I feel like most people have not played this game. I hadn't, this is the only 2D Mario game I hadn't played. I would put this one either just above or just below Land, I think.
So better than Lost Levels.
Yeah, I do think I think Lost Levels is probably the worst 2D Mario game. I mean, let's get real. But it's like, I think, admittedly, I've not beaten this game, right? I am going to. I can in good faith. And I don't think that a lot of people that played this game would probably disagree with me, right? I feel like it's a pretty common sentiment. I think I'm going to put it below Land. I think Land has a lot more charm and more challenge in a good way.
Sort of the beginning of the complaints about the new Super Mario Bros. Maybe, feeling kind of samey and or going in the wrong direction. Maybe, I don't know. I'm good with it being below Land. I like that. Yeah. Even though I've never played it, I had, like you said, I've seen footage of it, of like all the coins flying everywhere in rooms with tons of coins, and it doesn't.
Just nobody fucking cares about coins,
right?
Yeah, they overvalued coins in this game. Yeah,
so that puts it second to last, and we've got one more game. So let's talk about our last game, and then we'll do some honorable mentions, and we'll move on. But the Wii U gets sort of the sequel to New Super Mario Bros. Wii, right? Like you said, they kind of did, even though they all new, it's kind of like 2 different paths. So New Super Mario Bros. U comes out in 2012. I have not played this on the Wii U, but I played the deluxe. Actually, I did play a little bit on the Wii U at my brother-in-law's house, but I primarily played it on the Switch in the deluxe version, which I know isn't exactly right for how we're trying to treat these, but I'm pretty familiar with it from that. I really like this game personally, but that's, I spent a lot of time 100%ing it and doing it again with my kid. So I've spent a lot of time on this one on the deluxe version and a little bit of time on the sort of pack-in game that we're kind of excluding, but it kind of feels hard to exclude to the Luigi U remix levels for this. So I
think you could call New Super Mario Brothers U and Super Luigi U the same game.
Yeah, the same levels, sort of, but
in a way,
really.
Yeah.
They like remixed them, kind of,
yeah.
But anyway, anybody else want to say anything about this one?
I have similar to Golden Coins. I have just a few hours gameplay on this game.
Gotcha.
Bought it, rarely played it.
I love this game. I mean, I've played this game through twice. I played it when it came out for the Wii U. I played it on the Wii U. And I played it again when it came out on the Switch. And I enjoyed it a lot both times. That being said, this game felt, by the time it came out, it felt dated a lot. Yeah. And not because it's a 2D Mario game. Mario World does not feel dated. This game felt like it was out of time, right? It's like, I think you brought this up on another show. It's like, by the time this came out, like, we don't need lives anymore. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And, and it seems like I'm complaining, with Mario World and blah, 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 blah. But it's like, it's like Mario Odyssey finally figured that out, right? And kind of just did away with lives altogether, right? Like, this game felt like too burdened and shackled to the past in a way.
The save
right?
system is really terrible because you can't save your progress.
Yeah.
Unless, like, the way you save is only at certain points, and then you can quick save, but that's hard. You know what I mean? It's weird. Like, same sort of thing. Like, we don't need that. Just let me save.
Yeah. Like this is in no way a bad game. It's just like, I get why people didn't care. You know, it was just stale. Like, it didn't really bring anything. That's not really fair. It brought new stuff. It brought new power-ups. It brought, like, you know, cool. The level design is incredible in this game, I think, you know. But it's like, by the time a fourth game comes out,
tired at this point.
When you're at the
of the Koopas,
when you're at the fourth game in a series, kind of, you can't call it new anymore. Like, it's the titling was always so bad for these, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. I think this game is excellent, but it's like, I can't in good faith like say it's one of the best 2D Mario games, right? I don't know. Where would you slot this one, Patrick?
Well, again, not having played New Super Mario Bros., it's tough for me. But I think it belongs somewhere in the middle. I really have a lot of good feelings around it, but I agree with everything you said. So I feel like it's got to be nestled somewhere in the middle. But that's my opinion. You know, if you think, like, I do think it might be better than, like, Land, and maybe even, I don't know, that gets tricky.
Yeah. If it were me, if you guys wouldn't mind, I would put this just under New Super Mario Brothers Wii and above the original Super Mario Brothers.
That feels good to me.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say lower than that.
No, I think I would put this
exactly. That's a little bit on the upper end.
And even then it might even really be better than New Super Mario Brothers Wii. It's just with the amount of content.
It's just that tricky thing of judging it for when it came out and that sort of part too, right? Like,
yeah, it's just like New Super Mario Bros. Wii felt so fresh,
you
know, even though it was an old concept, and this just kind of felt tired, right? Yeah. But it's like, do we judge it based on that, or do we judge it based on, like, the quality of the game, right?
Yeah,
it's hard to say, but
we got to put it somewhere. So I do think it belongs somewhere in that range, somewhere in the middle. I'm going to suggest below, but if you disagree, David, Matthew can break our tie.
I could take it or leave it, so it's up to you, Matt.
All right.
Below,
it goes.
All right.
I think that's the energy around.
I think that's fair.
It feels right, even if, like you said, on some technical ways, it's kind of an improvement. It's like,
I think in a lot of ways that it's an improvement, you know, and especially when you factor in New Super Luigi U.
Yeah.
Which I'm going to stop talking because we've already made our decision.
Yeah,
but it's
we'll put it.
But it's like, it's debatable, right? But they're right around the same place. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got our official list. Matthew, you want to read it off for us?
Let's read it out.
Tell me if I got them right. We have at number 11, Super Mario The Lost Levels. And then 10, New Super Mario Brothers 2 for the 3DS. Super Mario Land for the Game Boy. Number 8, Super Mario Brothers 2 USA. Number 7, New Super Mario Brothers for Nintendo DS. Number 6, Super Mario Brothers for the NES. 5 is Super Mario Brothers U, followed by Super Mario Brothers Wii. Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. Super Mario Brothers 3, number 1, Super Mario World.
Yes.
Yeah. I think this does feel like a good list. I think the one thing that's making me feel bad is the complete lack of Mario Maker representation. But you know, we talked about it beforehand. That was a concession we had to make.
Yeah. Like you said, if you had to squeeze a Mario Maker, the concept, or one of them in there, what you think it would be top few?
Yeah, I'd probably put it just under 3, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or just right on the same line as 2.
Somewhere I would say, either just above or just below 6 golden coins. Or just the idea of infinite Mario levels, right? And it's like
some of the mechanics from it. I love the Shellmet and stuff. You know, it's got some great stuff.
And it's like it kind of takes the New Super Mario Brothers movement, like physics and stuff like that, and then just puts it into all of the Marios, right? Which I think just feels really good.
It does,
right? It makes them consistent across all of them. But I mean, it's totally fair not to include that in this list, I think. Nintendo certainly doesn't. They're like, forget that ever happened, because it didn't sell as much as they wanted to. But
yeah,
I think this is a totally fair list. I would love if you have disagreements about this list for you to let us know what you think, because I think this could lead to some interesting discussion here. But I think more than anything, I think what this proves to me is that, man, we need a new 2D Mario game.
but
right?
but not a new one.
No, no. Yeah. Let's kill the new Super Mario Brothers series. It's dead, right? Let's have a fresh iteration. Try to find a word that other than new. Nouveau Mario.
Agreed. Well, anything else before we call it?
If you haven't played Super Mario World, it's on Nintendo Switch Online. You can play it right now.
There you go.
Yeah, play fucking 6 golden coins too.
I'm gonna do that.
Monsters.
I think.
Yeah. Also,
right.
if you play it again, if you play it for the first time, please, and you don't think it deserves to be number 3, please let me know.
Well, like we said, it's hard when you sometimes come to these later or whatever, not be part of the moment. But anyway, we'll call it there. We're gonna take another short break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk all about the games we've been playing recently. All right, well, I've mostly been playing Splatoon again. Got my catalog done. Got over 100 hours now. I don't know. I just play Salmon Run. It's a great game for me to play like when I need a quick brain break, which ironically, even though it's hectic and all that, I play a lot of Salmon Run just as little breaks. I just love it. I don't know when I'll stop, but at some point I'm sure I'll slow down and pick up something more seriously. But the only other games I've really been playing have been 2D platformers for inspiration, and in particular Mario one's been like, how does it feel when you're in Mario on a moving platform? And let me tell you, I went into Mario Maker, and I went into New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe and some of the old ones to kind of get on platforms that have movement and see, because and it really depends. It's not consistent. Some platforms, you jump and the platform moves your jump just goes straight up and the platform keeps moving. Some you kind of carry with it and have the momentum, and some it's a little bit of both. So I was like, okay, I guess I can just do whatever. Because I was partly like thinking, I don't want players to play this and then feel like what I'm doing is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of came away feeling like whatever choice I make is okay. Does that make sense? Because there's not some set in stone thing. I played a little Celeste for the same reason to see if I could find some
Celeste
platforms.
has that great momentum stuff on moving platforms, but also has platforms that go really fast.
Yeah.
So it's like you pick up the speed and then you take off, and then you're kind of carrying that with you.
And we've also been talking about, I also wanted to play some wind levels in Celeste.
Patrick,
so I just want
to echo your bigger, larger statement of saying whatever choice I make is the right one is a great life advice too.
Well, as we said earlier in the show, we're always right.
Yeah.
We're never wrong.
I meant specific to that incident, but yeah, we can extrapolate that to life. Whatever choice, I don't know if I feel comfortable endorsing that message. But
mostly in particular instances when you have to decide between two good choices.
A design decision with two unclear, because game physics don't match real life physics, right? Because I was like, but if you're in a moving car and you jump, you would move at the speed of it, but there's wind I was having all this thought, and I'm like, I'm way overthinking this. What does Mario do? Anyway, go on. Somebody else.
I'll go. I've been back on my bullshit. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. As a teaser, we will have a lore episode focused all about Xenoblade Chronicles and its exhaustive lore coming soon.
That'll be like a spoiler discussion, right?
Yeah, it's a heavy spoiler discussion of Xenoblade Chronicles coming sometime. Possibly with next month and a half. Very excited about that. So spent a little bit of time in the new DLC in challenge mode. Play through that. Love challenge mode. And played a little bit more. Just this game. It's so good. I've been observing the conversation about Gotham Knights is fascinating because it's a next generation only game and it's locked to 30 FPS. There's no performance mode and 60 FPS, and some of the animations are not great. So I've been really watching some footage of that. I love Arkham games, and I was really hoping to spend more time on Gotham Knights when it comes out this weekend. So that discussion's been fascinating, and seeing that game in its current state is just wild to see.
I don't even think it's going to have 4-player co-op at launch.
Are you serious?
I think it's going to be 2-player only at launch and 4 players coming like a month later. So the game's just not done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just like, put it out there, then we'll fix it. Fix it. Yep. It sucks.
Yeah, it's not great.
David, your turn.
Well, I don't give a fuck about Arkham Knights, but I'm, I'm excited for you if you are. But I won't be playing that. I haven't played some very random shit. I mean, I've been playing a lot more Metal Gear Solid 5. First and foremost, the Phantom Pain. Got to bring that up. In fact, I started playing that game on my Xbox, and then I recently discovered Steam game sharing, like the family sharing on Steam, which I didn't really know was a thing. And so so many thanks to Jeremy, friend of the show, who's been on the show a few times. We connected our accounts together, right? And he has Metal Gear Solid 5 on Steam. So I was like, you know what? I want to fucking play this game on my Steam Deck. So I actually went back and played everything I'd played through up to that point on my Xbox again on my Steam Deck. And so now I'm caught up because it's like, it really feels like Peace Walker 2, right? And that game was made for PSP. So it just like feels good to play this game kind of portably, getting like the little side missions and stuff in. Like, sometimes you don't want to sit down for a whole time just to play like a little side op or something like that, right? So I'm fucking totally in love with Metal Gear Solid 5. It's been such an amazing year playing through all of the games in the series in 1 year. It's been really awesome. I really recommend everybody do that if you've never played these games. But other than that, I've been playing really random shit. Like I said, I've been playing some new Super Mario Brothers 2 for the 3DS. I've been getting into like 3D platformers again as well, like kind of low poly games. I'm like really into a lot of these. There's this game coming out later this year called Super Kiwi 64 that I'm really excited for. And the developer of that made this game that's only $1 that's now on the Switch and on Steam called Beanie. And Beanie I bought and played through. You could beat this game in about 15 minutes or less. And it's basically like a prelude to Super Kiwi 64, but it's kind of done in the pre-rendered 3D style of Donkey Kong Country, where you've got like kind of these sprites that are made from 3D models that kind of have this weird look. And the whole game, you're just this round little bee named Beanie, and you just like bounce up these platforms. And it's a very simple game, but Patrick, it really made me think of you because there are wind levels in it. And and it's got platforming, and it's got this kind of squash and stretch physics when he jumps and stuff. And it's like all these like little platform things, right? But I really enjoyed that. It was just like a fun little game to play, small amount. I tried out a demo for a game called Lunistis that I'm really also looking forward to. That's another 3D platformer. I'm just kind of getting into that low poly aesthetic. I'm really into that. And then I think the last thing I want to shout out, Pilot Wing 64 is a great game, and it is so much better now that it's running at like 60 frames per second. I think that game does not look great. It was a launch game for the N64, and it was totally overlooked because everybody was just playing Mario 64 the whole time, right? But the character models are like super ugly. I think the environments kind of look like trash, but at the very least, like the gameplay feels good, right? And actually playing it not at like 10, 20 frames per second, like it was originally on the N64, like it actually feels really good, right? And that's really what you're looking for in a flight game, right? And yeah, it's super, super fun to go back to. I would really recommend people check out Pilot Wing 64. Is it as good as the original Pilot Wings for the Super Nintendo? No. I think that is a far superior game that's aged a lot better, right?
You
and
had
has
some,
a lot better music.
series of tweets who you were discussing that the music for Pilot Wings is far superior to
The
64.
The original Pilot Wing soundtrack was composed by Soya Oka, who actually quit working at Nintendo shortly after the release of Mario Kart, which she also did the soundtrack of, which also has an incredible soundtrack, the original Super Nintendo Mario Kart. Who I think only recently, actually someone just tweeted at me today because they saw my tweet. Some Japanese man that I'd never met before was like, hey, Soya Oka just dropped a new track today. And it's like in 8-bit. And it's kind of her returning to this like chiptune style that she did back in the 90s. And it was like right after I had made all these tweets. So I'm wondering, like, did Soya Oka like Google her name and like saw that I was tweeting about her and decided to start writing chiptune music again? Who knows? I'm the real influencer, folks.
Inspiration to us all, David.
No, but it's great. I had no idea. This was even happening, and I looked it up, and I think she's dropping a whole record of like chiptune music. So it's really cool to see her going back to this because I think she's one of Nintendo's absolutely underrated composers. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Pilot Wing 64, which is also a very good game, just with some boring music.
Awesome. Well, that does it. Like David said, thank you to MilkyWay.co, who does our website. Thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick, online, you can find me most places as PDYX.
Hey, I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much everywhere on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And if you'd like to find our show on social media, we are at Switch Headz on Twitter, at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook. We got ourselves a website, www.switchheadz.com. And we have a Discord, folks, a Discord and a Facebook group. Two great communities. Please join that Discord. We'd love to have you in there. Man, every week now, it seems like we finish a topic and then we just go to the Discord and everybody discusses it. Man, it's such a great time. A lot of like really thought-provoking conversation in there. And we're all fucking playing Splatoon. So come join us. And come join the JRPG Club as we play Live Alive. We'll be having our first meetup sometime early next month. So make sure you join our Discord for that. But that's going to do it. That's going to do it for the show. I hope we didn't make any enemies out of our 2D Super Mario Brothers ranking list. I think it was a pretty good list.
I'm willing to say, come at me. Super Mario World is the best 2D Mario game.
Yeah. I feel less scared for my life than I did after our 3D Zelda games.
Yeah, Zelda's more controversial.
Yeah. I think so, certainly. But if you have a different opinion, please, we'd love to hear that as well. So make sure you subscribe and comment, do all that shit. In the meantime, folks, you know the deal. We're going to be back next week with an all-new episode. But in the meantime, be safe out there. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to one another. We love you guys very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. I can watch my Twitch stream on my computer.
Oh, no.
Oh my God.
That is not.
Let's go.
No, let's not. Terrifying.
That is really
Bob.
creepy.
That's Bob Zombie, right?
Yeah, it's Bob Zombie.
It's a really creepy mask.
Terrifying.
You did it.
I'm ready to talk about Mario. My favorite Mario is Legend of the Six Golden Coins.